Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video review for Breaking Bad. Now, before we get into it, I want to mention that I haven't seen every episode of Breaking Bad all the way up to the end of Season 4, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it in time to catch up before Season 5 starts. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing video reviews each episode for Season 5, like I was thinking about doing, but now I'm, not sure because it is a lot of episodes. Right now I'm about halfway through the second season, so I've got all about 8 episodes from the second season, and all of season 3 and 4. I would have to watch in order to catch up in a couple weeks, so I'm probably not going to have time to do it. But I thought I'd do this kind of video anyway, just to give my thoughts on the show and what I think of the series up to the point that I've watched, and just in general, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of twists and turns and other things happening that I haven't seen yet, going up through on the 5th season. But I've got a general sense of the show and wanted to give my thoughts on it. I think that overall this show is extremely interesting. This is one of the most thought-provoking shows I've ever seen. And that being said, I don't know whether or not I'm going to watch the rest of it. And the reason why is because I find the show to be extremely depressing. Now, it could be just a personal thing because my dad did have pancreatic cancer. Luckily, he was able to survive. They caught it in time, and he was able to get an operation done. And they were able to catch it before it spread to the lymph nodes. If you guys don't know, the plot of Breaking Bad is the main character, Bryan Cranston, who plays the father in Malcolm in the Middle. He basically has terminal lung cancer and will die within approximately 2 years or so, give or take. So pretty much what ends up happening or ensuing after that, now he is a high school chemistry teacher, sort of underachieving, went to grad school, all this kind of stuff, probably could be doing a lot more than just teaching high school chemistry. Finds this out, has a wife named Skylar, and a son who has cerebral palsy. So he lives the type of life, and basically they're like a middle-income family. I think he says he makes like $42,000 as a teacher or something like that a year. That's gross, probably before taxes. So I mean, and his wife doesn't have any kind of income, and this is the way they've lived their lives, probably, I assume, for a while. He's about 50 in the show, so it just puts your mind, when you're watching it, into his shoes as him being the protagonist, and you kind of feel sorry for him. I mean, you feel sorry for the character because of what's happening to him. Also, the fact that he's about to die, and the worst part about it is not even that he's going to die; is that he's going to leave his family unable to support themselves. That for me is like the saddest thing, man, because have a dude die, yeah, okay, that sucks, right off the bat. But if a dude's gonna die and leave his wife, daughter, and baby on the way, and not be able to leave them in a position where they cannot support themselves, or not even they don't have a hope in hell, they don't have a Hail Mary of supporting themselves, they really have no chance. It's just, that's a really, really cruel fate to be in, And I think that when you look at a character like that, or let's say even a person like that, if in real life, if this was to happen to someone in real life, a man especially, especially one that at one time was probably was an overachiever, or was trying to accomplish things. You don't go to grad school from a university and be for chemistry unless you're brilliant. You can't do it, okay, unless you go to a private one and you pay your way in or something. If you're going to an actual university or college and you get into grad school like that, for chemistry, you got to be you got to have it up top, otherwise it won't work. So that even just adds to it too, because it's like like he's a hardworking type guy. We find out sort of later on in the first season that there was some controversy about this friend of his that he has, best friend, so to speak, old best friend from his college days, named Elliot, and he has pretty much started up this company called Gray Matter with a lot of, it seems like, the work that Walt did, which is Bryan Cranston, the main character, and the fact that because he was able to get that work from Walt, he was able to take it and make a lot of money from it, because him and his wife seem like they come from money in the first place, which is true of a lot of students who get into grad school and stuff. I mean, if you don't have money, you're probably not going to grad school unless unless you got some kind of crazy scholarship. You're probably not going because it costs a damn fortune. Um, so that being said, the fact that his friend is basically doing so well, probably a multimillionaire, and Bryan Cranston, who most likely was the brains behind the operation, didn't really get anything out of it, and now is just this chemistry high school teacher. It's sort of is really just it kind of makes you question what's important as a man, especially once you get it to be in those age groups like between 30 to 50, and you have a family with a son or two kids, like a daughter on the way, that type of thing. And then you find out that basically you can't do what is one of the primary tasks in a man's life to do, which is take care of your family. That just would, that would do things to a person, to a man that, like the things that Walt does in the show, I think are completely realistic. I mean, that would do things to your mind. You would not be the same person when you got into that kind of situation. You probably a year later would not even resemble the person you were a year ago before you found out that you pretty much were going to die of terminal lung cancer in under 2 years. So that's why I find the show to be extremely depressing, is that we follow, his character sort of in a state that it's like, is like almost a defeated state, and I think that, with that comes, with a challenge comes great opportunity. So he sets his mind on, trying to leave his family with something so that they'll be okay. And does all these types of things that you would never expect a straight edge high school chemistry teacher to do. So just amazingly thought provoking, but at the same time, like I said, I find it personally to be quite depressing. So that's Walt. That's the main character. Heavily interesting character though, and I'd have to say realistic too, because like I said before, in addition to that, when you if you're a person that finds out when you're going to die, okay, and how much time you have left, that changes your outlook on life. If you find out that, okay, in terms of the span of your life, that it's going to end within this time frame, and that time frame is you're like right here and it's like right there, and you know that it's coming soon, you're not going to be the same person you would be if you didn't know when your time was going to come up. You find out that you only have this much time left. That's going to change you too. So I think that everything that Walt does and all the situations that he gets himself into actually are pretty natural. They feel natural. They don't feel contrived at all. So I think he's one of the most interesting characters in any show I've ever seen. Going on from there, who else we have is another character named Jesse, who essentially, of course, for those of you guys who have seen it, is Walt's tie-in old high school flunky student that he meets and tries to use to help him with his goals, and making money to leave to his family. That character too, again, his story is extremely depressing as well. I mean, you think of a character that his parents, when they see him and they see the fact that he is, they see him as like a failure of a man, maybe a boy in their eyes. Doing these kinds of things, getting into drugs and dealing and all this kind of stuff. They decide to do probably the most heinous thing I can imagine, which is to make him homeless and take his home away from him and basically blackmail him with a lawyer to do so. I mean, that is freaking tragic, man. And, I understand that, of course, choice is the main thing that drives people's lives. But, when you factor in a parent like that, because nobody gets to choose their parents. When you factor in parents like that, you can just imagine that, this kid was not good in school. He was not really, that smart, that gifted. He wasn't great. And, you toss in parents like that, treat him that way. And he rebels, and, the parents are so unforgiving. They're never willing to help him out or to give him, or to tell him that they're proud of him for anything. And he just feels that way. You can see someone going down that path too. So it sort of makes you sympathize with people that go down that road and become, homeless and all this stuff. Because you think about it, those people too at one time, most of them probably were in a situation that wasn't that bad, where they had, parents that could pay the bills and they had a place to stay and all this stuff. And then they go down that road of you know, getting kicked out, you know, all this different stuff that comes after that. How are you going to make money? You know, like how are you going to find a place to stay? And, you know, a lot of times, well, you know, one of the easiest ways to do it is to break the law and do something illegal. And that can get you, you know, probably what most people wouldn't be able to do, because a lot of kids that are, you know, 15, 16, this type of thing, they're not able to get a job yet, you know, or if they do get a job, it's so bad that they just want to quit right away and they can't stand it. So you see them go down these types of other paths, and so he again is another character that is very tragic type of lifestyle, and again I find very depressing as well. That being said, though, the show is extremely exciting, extremely interesting, thought-provoking. And I want to thank everybody for recommending it to me. I'll do an update probably in the next month or two. You'll know whether or not I'm going to finish watching it or if I'm going to drop it. At this point, I'm still undecided. I don't know if I'm going to ever, you know, if I'm going to finish watching it or not. Because, like I said, you know, I just, I don't know, man. It's pretty sad in terms of, you know, being able to relate and stuff. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Actually, no, a 9 out of 10, I mean. It is a great show, and if anyone likes sort of darker stuff, usually we get to see these types of shows through the angles of like police officers and this kind of stuff. So it's interesting to see it from the other perspective. It sort of makes you sympathize with people that get into these types of situations. I mean, it does, because it's like, what would you do in that situation, you know? Man, you know, and like especially a character like Jesse, like he knows this business, you know, he knows this industry, but like, what else can he do? Like, you know, get a job as, like, who knows what? I mean, it'd just be terrible. Anyway, that's it for this video, guys. Feel free to talk about Breaking Bad in the comments. I like to hear what you guys think of the show and, you know, how it makes you feel and, you know, just talk about it. And I'll comment as well. Later, guys. Peace.